Then I go on to create my Bible, and these sort of notebooks, these ring binders, these are really handy like that, because you can make notes. You can make notes for scenes that you want to get in. These are just ideas for scenes I didn't have actually in the story. I thought if I can get these scenes in, that this would be great. But I go through this for Granville again, and I have a bit at the beginning in the Tower of London. So this is the Tower of London sequence. So any notes I have for this sequence are here. And little ideas. I have a bit, somebody goes to a bathroom. I've got some photographs of a Victorian bathroom here. Because the story, it's like a steampunk story. It's a retro science fiction story. And this is the whole book. It's that structure I've just shown you, but scene by scene. See scene in Scotland Yard here. Different notes I have. It's an escape investigation. Different notes I have on that scene, etc. So I've got the whole book here. Sometimes I've got little sort of rough layouts, but the great thing about this ring binder is you can then, you want to move a scene, it's easy. You just take it out, move it to page 2 back, and there you go. So this is what you've just got. I've just got notes here on all the scenes, even little sort of visual things, ideas. Some of these I won't use, but any sort of ideas that occur to me, I've got somewhere to enter them now. So all these little notes I made that were in the folder before, I now start putting them in the right places. Using the Bible as your guide, I then go and do a rough draft of, so you can see how rough it is, extremely rough script. So I'm writing this script as I go along based on the notes I've already made. And you can see here, they don't have to be finished drawings. They're just reference points for myself, how I break it up into panels. I mean, sometimes I don't even, it's a mess, you can see. Sometimes I don't even do the drawings, I just break the panels because I know I can imagine that this is happening there, that's happening there. And it's basically, I'm concentrating on the script, on what they're actually saying here. This is when you produce the script, which I think this took me about a week and a half. This is a script for the first Granville, the typed script. And you can see it's pretty thick. It's spread out evenly, quite large lettering. This is so, when you're actually drawing it, it's not hard. It's hard to get confused because it's so clear. These are 2 silent pages, but there's a page 3, panel 1. And it says here, switch point of view, blah blah blah. This is describing what's in the panel. Underneath, you have the characters and what they're actually saying. This is LO, it stands for Lee Otter. Faster, damn it, faster man. They're gaining on us. 2, ground level. The assassins speed past left to right, guns drawn. Now, this description, it's pretty minimal, because here I'm actually writing for myself to draw, so I know what I'm going to draw. This basically is just so that the editor can follow the story. If I'm writing for somebody else, it's a lot more, the descriptions, paragraph and paragraph long. I tend to, if I'm writing for somebody else, I tend to use the Alan Moore method, which to just describe the whole thing in detail. You have Alan Moore at the one end, or Neil Gaiman, who'll write lots of detail, lots of character description. And right at the other hand, you get something like Alan Grant, who's very sparse in his writing. His script will be something like panel 1, Judge Dredd on bike. Panel 2, a pup is running across the street. Panel 3, Dredd shoots. Dredd, stop punk. It's like that. His writing, it's very, very sparse and cut down, and it leaves a lot to the artist. Because I'm writing for myself, it's not set in stone. All the way through this, you can see as I've done each page, I've made changes. I've improved it, I've polished it, I've changed things. I've moved panels backwards onto the last page, I've moved them forward onto the next page. I've changed the words, changed the wording, I've dropped lines, I've changed lines. You know, this is what you can do. After you've got your script, this is what you work from. Very often, if I'm writing for somebody else, I will actually do the page layouts as well. So I showed you the original things for Cherubs here. This is the same thing. This is what I send Mark Stafford, who draws it, and you can see these are very finished. Well, they're not. They're very rough, but you can see what's happening in most panels. And this is basically to give, you know, the layout of each panel, and to show, it's a very important thing, the position of the speech balloons. Mark actually asked me to do the layouts because he was only used to doing short strips before, so he wasn't used to pacing a graphic novel or anything longer. So you can see here there's pretty. He then takes these and then draws them, completely redraws them in his own style. When you're laying out pages, I mean, a graphic novel, it's very important. One of the most important things is to lay them out in pairs. So you know which page faces the other one. And there's several reasons for this. You can encapsulate an entire atmosphere between two pages. Here's a good example. I mean, look at that. This is the only dream sequence in the book, and the whole atmosphere is just encapsulated between these two pages. You turn the page, this cat's about to catch up with it, in this dream, and bang, the atmosphere is different. And here's a different atmosphere between these two pages. See, she's waking up in the van. Also, you can position things so that you have to turn the page to look at them. This is a good example. Here I've actually even got the hand turning the page as we do. So you have to turn the page to look at this. So it's important that any sort of surprises or things that you don't want the reader to see when you're here, you don't want to see them here. I mean, the number of sort of superhero comics I've read, and there'll be somebody here and saying, "Who is Professor X? I wish we knew," you know, and you can see him on the other page. And that's terrible because, I mean, when you're reading a comic, you actually read the text in a linear manner. You read the text balloons one after the other. But you can't stop it. Your eyes are constantly scanning all the page. It's flicking backwards and forwards. So it's important to have any surprises. Overleaf, so you have to keep them back or speed things up or whatever. So you have to turn the page to see the surprise.